Today, we're diving into a worldview that is, well, it's unlike anything you've probably heard before. It's a story that tries to connect a UFO, some really old prophecies, and modern-day politics, all to make a pretty startling claim about the second coming of Christ. So let's get right into it.
Right off the bat, the whole argument we're about to unpack really hangs on this one single idea. It's a big one. What if one of the most anticipated events in all of religious history already happened? And what if almost everyone just missed it? That's the central mystery we're going to explore.
So how in the world do you even begin to build a case for something that huge? Well, the source material lays out a very specific trail of clues connecting signs in the sky, ancient texts, and what's happening in the world right now. Let's follow those breadcrumbs and see where they lead.
Okay, so the entire foundation of this belief system, the thing it all rests on, is a single event, something that people saw and recorded, an event that, according to this interpretation, wasn't just some weird light in the sky, but was actually the literal fulfillment of biblical prophecy.
And here it is. This is the linchpin for the whole theory, a UFO sighting over the Dome of the Rock in Jerusalem back in 2011. The claim here is that this wasn't an alien spaceship, but the actual literal second coming. The idea is that this event, which was caught on camera and spread all over the world, was the prophesied return. It just didn't look like anything anyone was expecting.
Now, this isn't just about something that happened in 2011. The source connects it to a much deeper history. It draws a straight line from way back in the 8th century, with this thing called the Cian Stele that proves Christianity was in China super early, all the way to that UFO sighting. So in this view, the light over Jerusalem wasn't just some random thing. It was the grand finale of a prophecy that had been in the works for centuries.
But wait a minute, how does a UFO connect to ancient scripture? Well, this viewpoint offers a pretty modern spin on some key prophecies. Coming on the clouds? They take that literally. The sudden, totally unexpected nature of it, that fulfills the thief in the night part. And the prophecy that every eye shall see him? Get this, in the 21st century, that's interpreted as happening through the clouds of the internet, as the video went viral everywhere.
Okay, so that Jerusalem sighting is the anchor. But to build out the rest of this case, the interpretation goes way beyond the Bible. It starts to weave in prophecies from other very famous, and let's be honest, pretty cryptic seers.
And this is where the whole thing just expands. It starts braiding together three totally different sources. You've got the Bible, the mysterious writings of Nostradamus, and the visions of the Bulgarian mystic Baba Vanga. The claim is that these aren't just separate, unrelated predictions, but actually different pieces of the exact same puzzle.
So let's start with Baba Vanga. This analysis really zooms in on this specific vision, because you have to admit, the language sounds strikingly modern. You've got a strong dragon, 3 giants, and red money. The claim is, this isn't just flowery poetic language, it's a literal description of the world we live in right now.
And here's how they decode it. The strong dragon? Well, that's interpreted as China, a country that's long been symbolized by the dragon. The 3 giants? They say that points to a modern-day alliance between China, Russia, and Iran. And the red money? This perspective gets super specific, pointing to the actual reddish colors of China's 100 yuan bill and Russia's 5,000 ruble note.
All right, now let's switch gears to Nostradamus. This particular passage is presented as the crucial geographical piece of the puzzle. It makes a really key point. This long-awaited figure, he's not coming back to Europe. Nope. He will specifically appear in Asia, and from there, he will gain power over all the kings of the East.
So you can see where this is going, right? This leads to the next big question. If this prophesied figure has returned, and he showed up in Asia just like Nostradamus supposedly predicted, well, who is he? And you better believe the source material has a very specific answer for that.
According to this source material, this is the guy, Lord Rao. The whole argument is that he is the one who uniquely fits that Nostradamus prophecy because he appeared in Asia. That fact alone, they argue, sets him apart from other major figures in Western history that people might have pointed to.
So let's break down exactly how they connect these dots. First, and this is the big one, he appeared in Asia. That's check number 1. Nostradamus' phrase, League from the Great Hermes, is taken to mean he's a divine messenger. Check. But then it goes even deeper, with this viewpoint linking his spirit all the way back through Yeshua to ancient deities like the Sumerian god Enlil. It's trying to establish this massive, ancient spiritual lineage.
And that brings us to the final and maybe the most complicated piece of this whole puzzle. China. How does the strong dragon from Baba Vanga's prophecy actually connect to this whole messianic story? This is where the argument gets really complex. And look, here is the huge paradox that this viewpoint has to deal with. We hear reports all the time about the Chinese government persecuting Christians. So how on earth can you square that reality with the idea that China has been appointed to carry out some kind of divine plan?
Well, the source tackles this paradox head-on by basically reframing these policies through a prophetic lens. So what looks to us like state persecution of Christians is interpreted as a test of a believer's true faith. And China's really controversial social credit system, in this view, that's seen as a kind of early, rough draft of a merit-based system that will be used in the kingdom to come.
And the justification for all this? It comes from the ancient Chinese idea of the mandate of heaven, basically the divine right to rule. But the source makes a huge update to that concept. It's not just a mandate for China anymore. It's now global. And China has supposedly been chosen as the nation to put it into action for the whole world.
So, here's the final picture. The West, in this view, failed the test. It didn't recognize the returned Christ. So the divine mandate shifted to the East, and China was picked to lead the charge. The argument is that China is the only country with the power to actually transition the world from the old system to the new one, and that it will ultimately unify the state and religion under Lord Ryle.
So there you have it. It is an incredibly complex web of interpretation. It takes a UFO sighting over Jerusalem, prophecies from Nostradamus and Baba Vanga, and a very particular analysis of China's rise, and weaves it all together to argue that we are, right now, living in a new messianic age.
And that really leaves us with one last question to think about. Whether you believe a single word of this or not, just exploring a framework like this really forces you to think differently. When someone tries to map ancient prophecies onto modern politics, how does that change the way we see the world around us and the future we think we're heading into?